it going, everyone? No Andrew to do an intro with, but I figured I'd set up this episode. I am currently waiting to meet up with everybody to head down to the Cave Degree, day one of the trip. And I'm hoping to grab some cool interviews and chat about the trip and everything we're doing with the group we got going, because it's just a bunch of Masons. So hope you are all having a great day. Hope you enjoy this episode, and here we go.
Loosen up your ties and roll up your sleeves. It's time for Fellowship with Matt and Andrew. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin or any other Grand Lodge or any appended body.
Day one in the books. We are somewhere in Kentucky right now. Simpsonville, Kentucky right now. We covered like 390 miles since we all got together. It was a hot and long day. Hanging out with Jeff and Chris before, who have both been guests on the podcast before. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well. Tired.
Tired.
Doing well, but I'm tired.
Tired sums it up pretty well.
But I've got some bullet now, and it's all good.
We're all hot and tired. It was a long day, but we covered some serious ground, which is good. Why do you think doing stuff with brothers like this is important, Chris?
I'm all about the fellowship, and this is some of the best fellowship you can have. Being on the road, figuring things out together, just having a good time.
Excellent.
That's what I think Masonry is all about.
There we go. Awesome. Same question for you, Jeff.
Well, I said in the last time I was on the podcast, for me also, the brotherhood and the fellowship is the biggest thing. I miss that from the department, I miss it from the military, and, I've got three great brothers that I care about and love that I'm hanging out here with for this whole trip, and I wouldn't want to be here with anybody else. I love it. Good. It's good bonding for all of us.
Perfect. I would say that sums up day one of our adventure towards the Cave Degree. Look forward to more interviews during day two when we start meeting up with some brothers from other states. Day two is in the books. We had a nice non-freeway day, but covered probably about another 300 miles, and we hit the Devil's Triangle right away today on the way to the hotel. We got all settled in, and now we're off in the woods in Tennessee visiting with the Florida guys. One of their guys has a cabin up here, and it's pretty awesome. So I have brother Tyler Mitchell with me right now, who has had a somewhat interesting Masonic journey. He started out getting his entered apprentice and fellow craft at Lake Lodge, but then got relocated to Florida for work, where I believe Winter Park Lodge did courtesy work for us and actually gave him his MM. How's it going, Tyler?
It's not bad. How you doing?
Hot and tired.
Welcome to the South. Welcome to the South.
Yeah, that's for sure. So how was it for you, being that you started your Masonic journey in Wisconsin and had to finish it in Florida?
Well, you figure you go through the first couple of degrees, and as I was taught in the beginning, it builds on itself. And, you learn and pick up a thing or two, and you learn something, or it expands. And, once it comes to after the fellow craft, you're like, all right, I'm ready for the next step. And transferring to a whole new jurisdiction for Grand Lodges, seeing how there's differences here and there. So, for instance, like when we went through and I got down, we went through it. And I didn't even get warned about any of the differences. I just assumed everybody was the same. And I go through.
Your mentor, who I may happen to know, probably should have done a better job about warning you about jurisdictional differences.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
He shall remain nameless.
It's like words here, movements there, stuff that just kind of throws you off, which is why I really got into this whole Cave Degree thing, because you see all these different states. So it kind of makes you respect not only your own jurisdiction, but others. And for someone who travels like that, like I went through, it means a hell of a lot.
Right. Well, and I agree with you. This is my second year down here for Cave Degree, and last year I got to see Florida do work in the lodge doing an entered apprentice. This year I'll get to see North Carolina do an entered apprentice. Last year I saw New Jersey do a Master Mason, and this year I'll get to see Florida do a Master Mason, which you're actually part of the degree team for.
Yeah, you get to see what I went through.
Yeah, that'll be fun, and hopefully with some grade A seats this time, because we're going to get our chairs there a little bit earlier, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, so let's see. You've been a Master Mason for, almost 2 years now?
Right, yeah, about 2 years. I mean, I think it was 2021.
Oh, shit, 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, yep. It's
time flies.
Yeah, apparently time does fly.
You told me that one time, how I was like 1 year to 5 years is nuts, and then now I'm sitting on the precipice of that going like, man, that is so,
right.
It feels like yesterday.
Well, and you were also instrumental in the main player and the reason that we have a low 12 chapter in Florida, because after you got raised, you wanted to join the low 12 Puddlers chapter up by us in Milwaukee. And so we did that, and then when you were wearing the patch, everybody was like, "Hey, what's that?" And
Oh, yeah.
got that whole ball rolling, and now here we are. You know what? We officially gave you your charter last year, this weekend. So it's been a year plus a couple months, because we chartered you a couple months before that. We just couldn't officially hand it to you until we met up with. So
and just to see the interest in that. So like, you know, when we first started talking about it, there were 6.
yeah,
Now we're sitting at like I think 18.
that's awesome.
And there's no shortage. Like, people are just interested in getting out in the community and riding, and we've even left Florida from time to time to do charity work, like Dalton, Georgia, and stuff like that for shrine rides. So it's pretty much anybody that reaches out. If we have a free weekend, we just take off.
Awesome. I love to hear it. You guys are really doing good work with the Florida group, and I'm really proud of you and all that you've managed to accomplish. I wish I could have, mentored you all the way through Master Mason, but it is what it is. We'll call it here for now, because we got dinner to eat, other conversations to have. I'll probably try to get another Florida guy on here shortly, and then throughout the weekend continue to do this with people. In the books, we rode the Dragon's Tail today, or Tail of the Dragon, whatever you want to call it. Had a really good time. Everybody slayed the dragon. Everybody got back safe, even though we got poured on for like 10 minutes. It was ridiculous. And now, after seeing a beautiful EA degree put on by a Grand Lodge of North Carolina, I believe it was Monroe Lodge, actually, and we're back at the hotel having a good parking lot party with a bunch of Masons. And you've heard me quote him before, because I love his ABT and ABL on the podcast. I've used it a couple of times. I always try to give him credit for it, because I got it from him and he deserves the credit. I have worshipful brother Patrick Tessier with me from Florida. How's it going, Patrick?
It's going great. Thank you for having me on. I truly appreciate it.
I did say your last name right.
You did. Okay, the American way.
Yeah. I was always unsure if it was Tessier or Tessier.
Tessier works.
All right, perfect. So I've obviously quoted you before with your always be learning and always be traveling, ABL and ABT. Why do you think traveling is so important?
Traveling is one of the great benefits of Masonry, one of the really true benefits of Masonry, just because, like we experienced tonight, we were in a lodge room with Masons from over 19 states, 200 Masons, and it gives us access to men we never would normally have access to in our lives.
Right.
And you get to form bonds and friendships, as I formed with you last year, which has continued through this year. So those are the greatest things that we are thankful for.
Well, and it's been a lot of fun for me this year coming back to Cave Degree this year, specifically because all of a sudden I'm bumping into all these people I met last year, and everybody's remembering everybody, and we're, hugging each other right away and having a great time. And, we've stayed in touch over the course of the year since last year. And
correct.
We've talked quite a few times, actually. So you are constantly forming those bonds and these connections and stuff like that, which is amazing and something that's truly special, I feel like, about this Cave Degree, because it brings so many people from so many different places.
Absolutely. There were brothers that we've been coming up for about 3 years now, and there are brothers from the first year we came up who recognize us and see us, and it's just true fraternity. This is exactly what Masonry is about.
Excellent. And as far as your always be learning thing goes, let's just touch on that. What kind of learning? What do you think is important? What should people get into?
I'm a big ritual guy when it comes down to it. And this is another reason why we absolutely love the Cave Degree. We get to see work from other jurisdictions.
Right.
What's different, what's the same, and everything else. But when it comes down to learning, it's a never-ending passion of mine in life to be learning anything and everything I can, but especially when it comes into Masonry. All the little things that we really, really don't think about, the small minutia of what's actually part of our ritual, what this means, what that means, why we say those words, why we move in those places. Definitely that.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Patrick, for taking time out of our normal fellowship in the circle of chairs over there that we got going on, and doing a little time for fellowship.
Absolutely appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
All right, thank you. A familiar voice to the podcast on again. Brother Victor Magnus came down from Watoma along with worshipful brother Adam Rigdon, who you might hear later. Came down to check out Cave Degree. This is their first time down here. Thanks for coming down.
Yes, I am excited to be here. Brother Adam and I have been planning this trip for 2 years. We had been doing some research, and he and I actually kind of had stumbled upon this event within the same week. And then when we were talking, I'm like, hey, did you hear what they do down in Tennessee? He's like, are you talking about the Cave Degree? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, we're going. And well, obviously it was too short of a notice, and we said, all right, we better plan for 2 years out with our schedules.
Right.
So,
And then you guys got talking to me, and I was telling you all about it.
Then you told us about it from last year, and then, yeah, so here we are. It was a fantastic trip down, 13 straight hours we made it, and
Right on.
We're here.
Right on. That sounds like how Chris and I did it last year. We were just pounding the miles. Well, what have you thought so far? You guys got in late last night, so you've had today to kind of go check out Union Lodge, and got to see North Carolina do an Entered Apprentice tonight and stuff like that. What have you thought so far? What's the atmosphere like? What's the fellowship like? What's your take on everything so far?
Yeah, so we checked in. We came into town. We found the lodge last night just so we kind of get a lay of the land. From there, this morning we got in there, ran into you guys as we were getting our King Solomon's Pass. Just the brothers of the lodge instantly welcoming and just friendly.
Yeah.
I kind of peeked around and asked if I could go upstairs, and absolutely, they told me where the light switches were and let us kind of go and wander. So that was fantastic. And then from there, we were like, well, let's get over and just figure out where the cave is at.
Right.
So took the strip map, moved our way over there, ran into the gentlemen from Florida that are going to be doing the first part of the degree tomorrow. So they kind of explained where we got to go up the trail.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a hike in.
Yep.
And then once you arrive, and we just kind of, we worked our way in and explored, and we set our chairs in. Brother Lloyd from Watoma, as well as I, both of us we really enjoy cave exploration. And so we were pretty upset we didn't have the appropriate attire and things like that to do further exploration
Right.
this morning. But still, we wandered around and really enjoyed that ability to check things out.
Well, I can tell you tomorrow, if we're there early enough / afterwards, there's a couple of the Florida guys that know their way around that cave pretty well that can show you some pretty sweet spots that don't require any extra gear to get to.
Yeah, we found the river, so that was kind of neat.
Oh, there you go.
The Underground
Yep.
River, so we checked that out. But yeah, so we did that, and then we had some fellowship, made our way over to the lodge tonight. Dinner was fantastic, as we expected.
Yeah. This barbecue is phenomenal. And I do want to echo back to the fact that the brothers at Union Lodge, they're ladies that serve.
Correct.
And everybody is just so hospitable, and like it's so welcoming and friendly down here.
Very I mean, it's that southern hospitality that you would expect. But then also, we're brothers, we're family.
Right.
And the food, phenomenal. Opportunity to sit, again, chit-chat outside and really try to connect and meet gentlemen, these brothers from other jurisdictions and other lodges prior to even going upstairs.
Right.
So then, obviously, we rolled our way up there to get some good seats, settled in, and watched the degree, and it was very difficult to still comprehend. It was like going through the degree the first time.
Right, yeah.
The message is the same. Words are a bit different. So the hard part, or I would say the advice I would recommend to somebody jurisdictionally traveling for a degree, listen to the words, ignore the footwork, the rod work, ignore that aspect, but close your eyes and listen, because it is the same message, and that's the beauty in Masonry. It is the same message.
Right.
It's just put there a little bit different, but at the end of the day, the teachings of Masonry are universal, regardless of jurisdiction.
Yep.
So.
Intent's the same. Way you get there might be a little bit different.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. Exactly. Well, awesome. Let's get back over there. Go enjoy some more fellowship with everybody sitting in the circle of chairs.
Sounds good. Works for me.
Enjoy our evening. Next up on the list, I have Preston Wise from Winter Park Lodge down in Florida. Actually, I should say worshipful brother Preston Wise from Winter Park Lodge. He is my counterpart in the Low 12 as well. He is president of the Low 12 Florida, the historic chapter, the second chapter to ever exist of the Low 12. So we have a unique relationship in the fact that we're trying to grow this organization together and figure out the direction of it in a sense, because we're only 4 years old, so it's been a little interesting ride so far, because honestly I wasn't expecting to have a chapter in Florida in under 5 years.
Well, that's what happens when you send a fellow craft down and just leave them in Florida.
Well, and Tyler, who you guys heard earlier on this episode, it was Preston's lodge that actually ended up doing his courtesy work for us. They raised him to Master Mason since he got, relocated after 2 degrees. really frustrates me about that, we have this Ashler Award in Wisconsin for if you're a newer Master Mason and you work with somebody who's going through the degrees as their like mentor and you do different activities with them and stuff like that.
Right.
He was my guy. He was supposed to be the one that I ended up going all the way through and getting the Ashler Award with for like having mentored him through all 3 degrees and gotten him involved and stuff. And then, he ups and gets relocated after his fellowcraft and
Denied.
Yep, exactly. So I know you guys frequent the cave degree quite often. What keeps you coming back to the cave degree?
See, what I found really interesting about the cave degree is it allows me to see degrees from various states all over, mostly the southeastern United States, but up the eastern seaboard, all in the same place. So I don't have to travel all over the United States, and I still get to see degrees from, for example, New Jersey, Delaware, North Carolina, etc. And I didn't have to go there. So It simplifies. I go to the same location every year and get to see something completely different.
Right. No, and I think that's one of their good hooks for being able to keep this as such a large event every year. I mean, I think Patrick said earlier that there's 19 different states represented this year. I would say there's probably 130, 150 people in that lodge room tonight for the Entered Apprentice.
And that's why it was so hot.
Yeah. It did get a little toasty in there. And in fact, just the right amount of toasty that it started making people drowsy, in fact.
I did see a couple of people that shouldn't be falling asleep in lodge that were a little drowsy.
Yep. Well, I mean, that'll happen. You cram that many people in a room, a long lecture, and then all of a sudden, the eyelids just kind of get heavy.
But what's interesting, though, too, look, like you said, the long lecture, you said the first half of that degree was almost identical to your work.
Yep.
Well, the second half of that degree was almost identical to ours.
Well, and the crazy thing about that is the lecture that he gave was almost verbatim to how we do it, except we do it in 2 parts.
Yeah. Well, yeah, see, the lecture was very close to ours, and the charge was word for word identical.
Same here. Yep, the charge was, there's like 3 words in there I would change, and there's an additional sentence. And I don't know if he just forgot it or if it's not in there. So, because I was running through it in my head because I've done that charge a number of times. But it is fascinating to see all the different degree work. And, I think for me, one of my favorite parts about coming to Cave, outside of getting to meet up with the Florida version of the Low 12, which is, awesome. But this is like the one time a year where we get to meet up. It's fun. I showed up this year and there's people I saw last year who still remembered me, and just that instant fellowship that you have with everybody here makes for a really good time. I mean, look, we got 35 people hanging out in a parking lot of a hotel right now.
Well, it's also kind of cool that, like you said, they have that memory. Like the gentleman that cooks the food actually recognized me this year and said, "Oh, you're back. It's good to see you again."
Right.
He doesn't know my name. He doesn't know who I am, but he knows that we frequent it and we honor his lodge by being here and participating.
Well, and that man has some phenomenal barbecue too. He does an excellent job.
He does.
I love that. That pulled pork tonight was just absolutely delicious.
I have one of the members of Low 12 Florida does not eat pork, and he actually took the time to try it because he wanted to show the respect that food was prepared for us.
Right.
He said it was great.
Yeah, no, it was definitely excellent. Well, I'm going to let you go, Preston, so we can get back to hanging out with all those guys over there. Thanks for coming on the podcast, and I'm sure we'll have to have you on for a full episode at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, thank you. Familiar voice again on the podcast. We have worshipful brother Adam Rigdon from Watoma. Once again, how's it going, Adam?
Oh, fantastic, Matt. Glad you arrived safely down here.
Yeah, glad you guys did too. You guys got to do it the cage way.
Yeah. It was 791 miles.
Yeah, that's a pretty lengthy haul. By the time we added in Devil's Triangle on the way to the hotel and stuff like that, I think we were somewhere around the same. I think we're right around 900 miles on the bikes right now, and that's we still have 138 to go to Jack Daniels on Sunday, and then 650 home from Jack Daniels between the rest of Sunday and Monday. So yeah, we're looking at a 1,700 mile trip.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So.
Yeah, I just didn't have quite that much time.
Oh no, I'm glad. Chris and I did it as a 3.5-day trip last year, and it
Yeah.
felt rushed. We still had a great time, but it felt rushed.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could take a little more time this year, enjoy ourselves a little bit more, and enjoy some good fellowship. I'm riding with 3 great brothers. I can't really complain. Couldn't ask for anybody better to travel with.
Yeah,
And then
I agree with you.
to come down here and have you and Victor down here and 2 other Wisconsin brothers down here, it's just awesome. I feel like, I don't know, outside of the degree teams, obviously, outside of North Carolina and Florida, I don't know that any other grand jurisdiction is represented by 8 people here right now, even though we probably have like 150 people from like 19 different states or
Right.
whatever down here.
Yeah, we got a good showing.
I feel like 8 people from Wisconsin is impressive.
Yeah, that's a good showing.
So you guys got into town yesterday,
Yeah.
and you scouted out the area as Victor told us and everything else, and then got to kind of meet some of the brothers from Union Lodge today, and obviously see an entered apprentice from North Carolina, and now we're all enjoying fellowship. What have you enjoyed about being down here at Union Lodge's Cave Degree the most so far?
As always, it's the fellowship, the windshield masonry, as my travel companions always say. We just
I'm
talk.
actually remiss real quick. Sorry, I have to correct my comment. You guys brought 3 guys from Watoma. So we
Correct.
actually have 9 brothers down here from Wisconsin.
From Wisconsin, yeah.
Yep. Sorry, I keep forgetting you brought Brother Lloyd with you.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Oh, Brother Lloyd's a little quiet, but don't forget him.
No, I won't. That's why I
when
just
he-
mentioned him.
Yeah, right, because when he talks, you should listen to what he has to say, because he's like a 41 or 42-year Mason, and he's one of my best friends, and, I kind of twisted his arm a little bit for him to come down here, and
I'm sure he's happy he did.
He's very happy he did. We got a nice little spot on the Clinch River, an Airbnb, and it's just been really great. All that riding, 12 hours to get down here. Great conversations. I mean, masonry happens in the lodge, of course, but the best of masonry happens outside of the lodge.
Right.
Ideas get tossed around, and, people's concerns get addressed a little bit more candidly, stuff. So once again, it's the fellowship and just the sheer experience of this whole thing. So when we decided to come down here like 2 years ago.
That's what Victor was saying. Yeah, you guys had it, but then it was a little short notice for you guys to be able to do it.
Yeah, well, we couldn't all, Victor and I think Victor couldn't do it, but he didn't, I could, but I didn't want to go without him because him and I had really talked a lot about it.
Right.
So that's my recollection. So we moved it out a year. And, when we do something like this, far away from home, yeah, we're pounding the miles to get here and pounding the miles to get back, but, we're doing all the meals at Union 38 Lodge.
Yep.
So we can have the fellowship with the brethren from all those jurisdictions and talk and, see degree teams from, other jurisdictions that have different ritual.
Right.
It's cool. Like you and I were chatting about how things were a little bit different
Yep.
and stuff. But yeah.
One of the unique things I've found is I've been down here now twice. I've been to Union Lodge in Tennessee twice. I've seen New Jersey work, Florida work, and North Carolina work. I have yet to see Tennessee work, and I've been at a Tennessee lodge 2 years in a row. But I think that's what keeps this event fresh. Is
Yeah.
you can always come here and see different. You're not coming here and always seeing Tennessee work. You're coming
Right.
here, you're seeing New Jersey, you're seeing North Carolina, you're seeing Florida, you're seeing whoever, which I think goes for a lot of the reason people come back because it's always going to be different.
Yeah.
So I think
See
they have a
something new.
great model for an event with this, and obviously, as you can see, the parking lot party and fellowship is a great time, and their slogan couldn't be any better for this, where Masons meet Masons.
Yeah.
It's so true because, and people are going to get sick of me hearing me say it on this episode, but I'm still flabbergasted by the fact that I was here last year, I came back this year, and I saw people that saw me here last year that were instantly like, hey, Matt, how's it going? And we're so excited to see me, and it's just been so great and so welcoming, and everybody down here is just so hospitable.
Because we're Masons.
Right, right, yeah. Well, that's part of the reason. And then you throw in the Southern hospitality on top of it, and it's just, it's over the top. Everybody
really is.
is so great. Everybody's so nice. So glad you're enjoying yourself. Maybe we'll talk again after the cave tomorrow.
Beautiful.
And get some more. So
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
well, that's going to wrap up day 3 from the cave degree down here. And I will talk to you all more, which will be in like 20 seconds for you guys, but 24 hours for me.
A few moments later.
So day 4 is almost in the books. We're hanging out in the parking lot at the hotel again, having some more great fellowship here. We were in the cave this afternoon. It was an excellent degree, a Master Mason degree put on by Florida. They did a wonderful job. It's always awesome to see a degree in a cave. And right now I'm joined by worshipful brother Andrew Davis, who's also district representative for District 8 in the state of Wisconsin, and actually emailed the podcast after he heard about the cave degree and was interested in coming down, which was really, really cool. I'm glad we had that kind of reach and brought something that people were interested in, to our listeners, which is awesome. So first of all, thanks for agreeing to be on.
Not a problem.
Second of all, how's this been for you so far being down here?
It has been an excellent trip. I came down with another brother from a lodge that I belong to up in La Crosse. And we just kind of decided after I'd heard it on the podcast, I called him and said, hey, think our wives will let us go on a trip? And he's like, absolutely. So
Right
we
on.
ended up down here. Total drive for us is about 12 and a half hours without any stopping to
Yeah.
get here.
Yeah, you got a long one. I mean, in a car, yeah, that's still a lot of miles to cover.
Yep.
We probably took about the same amount of hours to get here on the motorcycle, but covered less miles. But we also need to stop a little more often for gas.
Yes, obviously.
Smaller tanks and all that. What has been your favorite part of being down here so far?
So that's a tough thing because, seeing the degree work from the different jurisdictions, I do believe is one of the true Masonic secrets is getting out there and traveling, but it is followed up so closely behind fellowship.
Right.
Fellowship with brothers, getting to know brothers from different states. I've got contacts now from brothers in Alabama.
Right.
Next time I'm anywhere near Alabama, we're going to see them.
Right. Well, and exactly, that is part of the unique thing, and that's actually been a very common theme throughout all the interviews I've done so far this weekend. And it is truly amazing. You walk out of here and you suddenly know people from a bunch of different states, and if you're ever in their area, you're just going to be able to reach out. And when I came down last year, I had just started doing my TikTok a little bit and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of Masonic TikTokers down here last year, and then all of a sudden we were all meeting in person, and it just further developed those bonds because we had all had conversations prior to that and stuff. So that the fellowship is probably one of my favorite parts down here. But so when you go back to your lodge and your district, what are you going to tell them about Cave to get them to come? Because we took Wisconsin from having 2 people here last year to 9 people here this year, and I would love to see it be 20 people next year.
Yep. So when I get back, I'm going to impress upon the brothers that, Masonic travel is truly one of the secrets that we do not talk about enough. I feel that the more you can get out and see other jurisdictions work, especially their degrees, makes for such an interesting thing when you see how they do it. It gives you ideas that, you've never thought about. There's stuff I saw here that I never have even considered being in a degree before.
Right.
That is beautiful.
Right. Agreed. And I mean, the content is always the same, but it's just done differently.
Yeah, you get to the same end,
Right.
but the means of getting there are different.
Right.
And I'll have to say that, there's some stuff that I see it done and I'm like, I really like it the way we do it.
Yep. Yeah, and there is that too. There's plenty of things I've watched this weekend where I've been like, I prefer the way we do it in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But then there's also been little things, minute things, part of the acting out of it and stuff like that, where I'm like, I'm going to bring that back and I'm going to do that from now on.
Absolutely. There's definitely a lot of that where it gets you thinking. Next time you do a degree, I'm like, there's nothing saying we can't do that. We should do that.
Right. And it's one of those pieces of flair sometimes that comes with it, a little more dramatization of it, and really driving the point home that you can play with a little bit, that we have the freedom to play with, I should say.
Another 5 seconds worth of degree work that doubles the amount of meaning for the guy in one section. Why not do it? It's almost a gimme at that point.
Right, exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast. We're going to cut it here. I'm going to hopefully get a couple other people on tonight yet. And thanks again. Thanks for coming down. I'm glad you reached out.
You're welcome.
It's been a great weekend. So
Thank you.
up on podcast interview, I don't know what we want to call this, round robin. Podcast interview round robin, because I'm just grabbing anybody and everybody I can this weekend, and it's been a blast. This is something we did at Annual Communication. Next up, we have Brother Mark Udovich, currently the Junior Warden of La Crosse Lodge number 190, who came down with my last guest, Andrew, and heard about this on the podcast, heard about it from Andrew, who heard about it from the podcast. And what has been your favorite part of being down here in Tennessee for the Cave Degree so far?
Honestly, this part, the fellowship where we're sitting around talking to people, that's my favorite part about all this, is getting together with folks and, talking with people, and it being like a little crossroads type thing where we get to hear about all the other places and what other people are doing.
Right, yep, and that's been a common theme that's run through most of the people I've talked to. It is probably one of the best parts of what Union Lodge down here has managed to build with this Cave Degree is, their unofficial slogan, which I'm pretty sure I probably said last night or the night before on this podcast episode already, so I'm sorry to the listeners. It's where Masons meet Masons, and it's true. I mean, we're sitting out here enjoying fellowship with guys from Florida, guys from Alabama, guys from just all over the place, and it's interesting to hear the different struggles and different successes that you're getting from all those different jurisdictions.
Oh yeah, all the differences between us and how we're the same and different at the same time.
Right. What did you think about seeing degree work from two different grand jurisdictions?
That was pretty cool. I mean, seeing them, especially back to back, I mean, you see them apart from each other, it's hard to remember details of it, but seeing them that close together, it's fun to see the difference. One between us and them, but seeing between the two of them how different they are. I mean, yeah, they were different degrees, but it's still, you can tell,
right.
Even how they open and close is a little different,
Right. Yep. No, it is impressive. It's really fun now. I mean, I've been down here twice. I've yet to see Tennessee work, which is...
I thought that was interesting, too.
Right. They're talking about maybe starting to incorporate that a little bit to get people to hang out a little bit longer, maybe do some Saturday night Tennessee work, just to showcase their own work, too, which they're hosting, they should, right?
I feel like they should, too. They should exemplify their own stuff,
Right. Give us a taste for Tennessee, because I've come down 2 years now. I've sat in a Tennessee lodge 2 years on Friday night, and I've seen Florida and North Carolina do work in the lodge room.
I didn't really realize that when we were coming down here, we were going to see other, teams from all these states so far away. It's just kind of crazy, but it's cool too. Well, how many caves are there that you can do this in?
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's a couple other places that do like Cave Degree, not many. And then, there's all these other awesome degrees that we get to hear about with these other jurisdictions being here, like the Battleship degree that's in South Carolina, the Island degree down in Florida. There's so many of these unique degrees, and I'm just like, I got to start compiling a list, because now I want to see more of them.
I want to start collecting them like Pokemon cards is what I want to do. There's all kinds of places all over. The Cave Degree was on my bucket list, because this kind of stuff I've been planning for since I was young and I was a DMLA, so...
Right.
I've been planning to do this since I was a kid, so Cave Degree was up there near the top. Andrew was like, "Wow, let's go down." I'm like, "Okay." There was no planning involved. We just sort of seat of our pants at this. So
right, yeah. Andrew had reached out to the podcast and asked where we were staying and stuff like that, which was awesome. I mean, I wanted to make sure. Last year when Chris and I came down, we had no clue where to stay and nothing to do, so we were actually staying at the Super 8 that's closer to the lodge. That's probably where people are going to be, right? So we were actually riding over here every night to the next town over to hang out with everybody, and then riding back to our hotel room and stuff like that. Yep. So this year I made sure to get where I knew like the party was going to be, not party, parking lot fellowship, right?
Yeah. As party full as all this kind of stuff gets,
Right.
A couple lawn chairs all sitting around, just like AC, where, we kind of have our own little private parties all over the place. We're not, playing music and dancing around or just hanging out.
Just having great conversations, getting to know each other, getting to know about masonry from different places. It's truly a unique experience.
Oh yeah, I got friends in Alabama from this weekend that I never would have had otherwise. There's no reason for us to ever meet normally.
Outside of masonry, there isn't, right?
It's perfect,
So, all right, well, excellent. Thanks for coming on the podcast very much. I appreciate it. And Hope you guys travel safe home tomorrow. I know you got a long day ahead of you.
13 hours. I got to go with Andrew all the way back to his place, and then I'm getting in my van and driving the rest of the way back to La Crosse. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we're taking 2 days to get back. We're taking Sunday and Monday, and thankfully we're also making the most important stop of the trip. We're stopping at the Jack Daniel's Distillery tomorrow morning.
That's important. If I had an extra day, I'd probably be hitting a couple myself on the way back. That's for sure.
Right on. Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on the podcast, and again, safe travels.
Yeah, thank you.
On podcast interview round robin, we have worshipful brother Ed Sexton from Florida, Ocana Lodge, right? Correct.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. He is a 2-time past potentate and a 2-time past monarch of which shrine again?
Bahia Shrine in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
And Ormaz Grotto, also in Orlando, Florida.
Awesome. Awesome. It probably would have been easier to say what you haven't done versus what you have done in Masonry, because you've been all over the place.
I've been honored quite a bit more than I deserve, maybe.
I don't know. We always have great conversations. I had the pleasure of meeting you last year. It's great to see you again this year.
Absolutely.
And speaking, and also I should mention, you are one of the original widow sons that kind of got the ball rolling on that whole thing.
Yeah, I became a widow's son, and I was friends with some of the original guys in Orlando, and I joined in 2006, and I was secretary of our chapter starting in 2008.
Oh, okay. Right on. Yeah. And Widow Sons has been around since what, 99?
2002,
No,
2003.
Yeah, yep. So you're right there in the early beginnings of it.
In the beginning of it.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. And you said, you were just telling me you've been coming to Cave for like 15, 16 years now?
Yeah, I think we're trying to remember. I was talking to my wife, and it's either 16 or 17 years. I can't remember what it is.
Somewhere in there. So quite a while.
Yeah.
Which is impressive. What keeps you coming back to Union Lodge's Cave degree every year?
The fellowship, the brotherhood. It's like we were sitting down in the cave today, and you have 300 plus brothers from 22 states, and the single thing that we all have in common is the Masonic obligation we took.
Right.
And it's the brotherhood and the fellowship that we have. And it's like tonight, sitting around talking, sharing a nice cigar, having a beverage, and just enjoying ourselves and talking about what our experiences have been, and just sharing what Masonry means to all of us.
Right.
Because each of us, it means something different too. But it also, the commonality is, but for Masonry, we would not know each other. We would never have met.
Yep.
And that's the unique thing. My wife and I traveled in Europe this past year, and we met brothers. I met brothers that recognized my ring or a belt buckle and came up and started talking to me. And again, it's like, it's a fraternity that it extends beyond the borders of our state, our local community, even our country. It's worldwide, and it's something that is very rare in the history of modern man.
Right. I completely agree with your sentiments on all of that. And it's been a very common theme throughout everybody I've talked to this weekend, is that the fellowship is what keeps people coming back. The idea sharing, I mean, we've seen good idea sharing, bad idea sharing. We've seen guys talk about their struggles in Masonry, guys talk about their successes in Masonry, and it's been wonderful. You see, especially with some of the newer guys down here, you see them suddenly get invigorated about it all. Like, wait, there is a way to change things if I need to change things and make them better?
Absolutely, and that's the unique thing. Next year I'll be in my 30th year as a Mason, and I would have never thought that I would be the benefactor of so many blessings and gifts that Masonry's given me. And again, quite a few of them are friendships that money just can't buy. We travel together, we do things together. I look forward to coming up here. It's like I look forward to coming and seeing you guys. It's like next year hanging out with you guys again. That's the part that makes it unique to us. My wife and I, we travel quite a bit. We do a lot of things. We're both retired, but this is it's an extended family. It really is. It's an extended family.
Exactly, and I don't think I could have said it better myself. Ed, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. It was great seeing you again this year, brother.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Yeah, and safe travels on the way home.
Absolutely.
I know you guys are leaving tomorrow, as are we. So,
yep.
Again, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Shout out to all our brothers in Wisconsin.
Hey, there we go. One more unexpected interview on podcast round robin of interviews here. Still on day 4 at Cave Degree here down in Tennessee, and I am joined by worshipful brother Zach Gasaway from Delton Lodge number 105, Grand Lodge of Georgia. Thanks for being on the podcast, Zach.
Thank you for having me.
It was great seeing you again this year. I got to meet you last year, and
Yes,
we had a really fun time. Last year was a great time. This year's been a great time too again.
Yes.
You've been coming up here for a number of years. What keeps you coming back?
I like the fact that you meet other brothers from other jurisdictions. You get really cool ideas on how to grow Freemasonry. The brotherhood aspect of just sitting around just in a random parking lot at the hotel, just talking, sharing ideas, sharing brotherhood. It's just one of those things you can't beat, and then you get to meet different people from different walks of life. As usual, just like in your lodge, you get to see those people, and it just kind of, it's just one of those things that just makes you want to keep coming back for me.
Right. I would agree with that. The fellowship is outstanding, and that's been just constant. That's pretty much what everybody has said keeps them coming back to Cave. Do you think the fact that you every year is different jurisdictions that are conferring the degree has anything to do with the success that Union Lodge has had with this versus always coming down and seeing like Tennessee do 2 degrees? Do you think the fact that it's always fresh and new helps with people constantly wanting to come back?
Well, the fact that every jurisdiction is completely different, that's the main key, and a lot of people are very interested and they're curious to see how every single state does it differently so they can compare it to theirs and compare it to other degrees that they've seen. And I think that's what's enticed more and more people to come, because people go like, oh, hey, have you seen this state do it yet? Oh, they're going to do it at the Cave Degree. Let's go see it. Plus, we'll get to have fun. You know, there's good food, good hospitality, good brotherhood. But it's just, hey, let's go check this lodge. Let's go check this lodge out, because I've always wanted to see what they do. And then you get to do it, and then you go back home, you tell other brothers about it, and then that entices them to want to come the next year to see what state's going to be doing it then.
Right. Well, and that's something I was actually saying to a few people today, and I didn't really think of it when I came down here last year, but I thought about it this year, is the fact that Union Lodge doesn't advertise this. They don't put this out here. They get 300 plus people down here pretty consistently, pretty regularly, and it's all word of mouth. It's people talking about this thing that keeps it going.
Besides the little Facebook posts that some of the brothers that I'm friends with on Facebook put up, there's no crazy advertisement, because it's really hard to advertise a Masonic thing to the general public.
Right.
So it is a word of mouth thing, and if you pay attention, it's been so successful for 2 or 3 years now that they've done this. It's just grown exponentially even more to where we're having, what was it? It was 20 different states, 144 different lodges today. I mean, that's powerful to see that this isn't just all the southern states around Tennessee. This is Alaska was here. We had a past grandmaster from Alaska, and to hear that, you're like, wait a second.
Well, we had a guy here from Quebec.
Yep.
We had, I guess there was a couple of brothers from California. I didn't have a chance to interact with them at all, but so you're coming clear across the country for this. You're coming from another country and then clear across our country to still get here.
It puts into the effect of you hear things, this stuff is made of legend.
Right.
And I mean, you get to see it firsthand experience. Like, this is legendary to the point where it's word of mouth, but people all the way in California, Alaska have heard about this.
Right.
And here it is, a small town in Tennessee in a humble little lodge, and they can bring in 400 people or 300 to 400 people.
Right.
And I mean, because there's a lot of people that come just to the lodge. They don't go into the master's degree. They come to the lodge just to make the donations in support, and they don't even go into the Cave Degree. Because I hear people say, I just come to drop off a donation to the lodge.
Right.
I mean, that's powerful to see, and it's one of those things that's like that gleaming hope for Freemasonry to continue and grow the way it has so far.
Right. I think you put that very well, and I think that's the perfect spot to kind of end this right here.
Yep.
And it's been great seeing you again. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And if I can swing it, I'll see you next year.
Hey, I hope so.
Here at an Applebee's in Illinois on the final night of the trip with 3 other weary travelers. We've covered a lot of miles on the motorcycle, done a lot of things, and had an amazing time. So two of the people I'm here with, you've known from the podcast before. We have Worshipful Brother Chris Acker and Worshipful Brother Jeff Teely. But also joining us for his first appearance ever on the podcast is Most Worshipful Mike DeWolf. How you guys feeling right now?
Tired. Beat up.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right for sure. Chris, what was your favorite part of Cave Weekend?
Oh boy, fellowship after the degrees. I love the parking lot parties.
Right on.
It's a lot of information put out. Helping the others and getting help from them is just absolutely amazing.
I like the difference between the degrees and getting to see what the different jurisdictions were like and how they did the degrees and how they were the same but different.
Right. Yep, that's always interesting.
All the parts are there, they're just rearranged.
Yep. Jeff, what about you?
I like a combination of that. I also like to see what other jurisdictions do. That's why I've traveled to other states to do that. But a lot of Freemasonry gets done outside of the lodge. We had great conversations with guys from Alabama, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida. You can't beat the networking, and you can't beat the ideas that are shared from jurisdiction to jurisdiction of what works and what doesn't. So I'm kind of a blend of these two turkeys.
And I think another thing that was really interesting is we had a lot of comments about how positive the work in Wisconsin is and the things that we're doing. We got a lot of positive feedback on that.
Yeah, that was huge.
We're making waves. We are leading the pack in the United States.
For sure. I would agree with that after some of the sentiments of the people there.
And I've heard that before.
Yep. We heard some of that last year already. Mm-hmm. So, Mike, you're the most experienced Mason at the table here. You've been around the longest. You've probably done the most things in Masonry. How does going down to Tennessee for the cave degree stack up against some of your other Masonic experiences?
I think this is one of the best experiences that I've had traveling. I've been all over the world, traveling to different lodges and doing different things, but this was totally unique. Awesome. We had over 300 people in this cave. 20 countries? Or
20 states.
20 states.
Yep.
Two countries.
Yep. I mean, it was just amazing the work there. And everybody, that was really good work.
Yeah, they put
good
together
degree work.
They put together a heck of a degree team.
144 different lodges.
Yeah. And 9 people from Wisconsin representing 4 different lodges.
That's right.
We had a good turnout.
We did. We showed up strong this year. So.
And 3 different districts, right? Watoma's in 6, 9, or 11 and 12.
11 and 12, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome showing for Wisconsin, especially since last year we had 2.
and 5. Andrew is from 5.
Oh, yeah.
5/8. So Andrew and Mark were from 5. So
right.
They were representing 5. So
Right.
it's 4 different districts in Wisconsin.
Nice. Awesome.
That's hard. It's hardcore.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap it up. And Andrew, have fun editing all this together. Talk to you later. Last interview, I decided maybe I should record my final thoughts. So I couldn't have asked for a better group of men to travel with Chris, Jeff, and Mike. By the time we've gotten home, we'll have done almost 1,750 miles on the motorcycles over the course of 6 days, and it was just truly a fun time. Yeah, we got tired and we got sore, but we had an absolute blast with each other, and we had an absolute blast at the cave. And I would agree with the major theme that runs through this entire episode, which is that the fellowship and the idea sharing and everything that happens down there at Union Lodge in Tennessee is just glorious and can do so much for the craft. They have a very unique event that they are able to put on, and it is showcased every year, and they've been doing it for 53 years now, and I hope they never stop, because what they have managed to put together and what it brings to Masons is absolutely amazing. And if you ever have the chance, you need to make sure to go. And I hope you do have the chance to go and experience what we have all been able to experience this weekend. Chris and I for a second time, which made it even more special, running into people we met last year. So I hope everyone has a great day. Thanks for listening. Thanks to everyone who agreed to be on the podcast. during their weekend of leisure at the Cave Degree. I appreciate everyone who took time out of their schedule or time out of fellowship to have fellowship with me with microphones. And I hope you all enjoyed the episode. Make sure you follow us on our socials, and if you ever want to reach out to us, timeforfellowship@gmail.com. Have a great one, everyone.